Hello and welcome back to Desert DIY. If you are new here, my name is Corey. Today I'm going to be taking these mismatched pieces of dining furniture and putting them together into one cohesive dining set. And I did this piece for somebody who was a young adult aging out of foster care. That is something that I do quite often. And if you are interested in helping young adults who are aging out of foster care into furnishing their very first homes, then I urge you to reach out to local foster care agencies in your area and let them know that you would like to help. But for these pieces, I got them for free. They were donated to me by wonderful people. And I am going to just clean them up and sand them down first before I get into painting them. The girl who I made these for was really into whites and grays and kind of like a boho farmhouse look. And I did the best with what I had. And I think this is a really good example for somebody who is on a really tight budget and wants to make something beautiful out of what they have on hand with just some elbow grease and some painting supplies. The fabric that I'm using to recover this seat is from Walmart, super affordable. This whole project in general is just very, very affordable. If you hear any funny sounds in the background, that is just my 1-year-old son playing. I swear there is nowhere to hide in my house to record audio in silence. When you have 3 kids in the house, it's just really hard to catch a break as far as doing these voiceovers go. So I just decided that I'm just going to roll with it today and let him play while I do this voiceover with you guys. But the color that I'm painting it is a dark charcoal gray. I believe this was a Rust-Oleum chalk paint. And I may have even mixed together some leftover paints. I can't quite remember. This project I actually finished quite a while ago and was saving up to give you guys at a later date. But the color in general, you pick which color you want. If you see this gray and you don't like it, then use what colors you like. And if you see this gray and you love it, then have a blast going to the store and looking through all the color selections that they have and pick one that really speaks to you. And of course, you don't have to use the same type of products that I'm using, but if you do want to use the type of products that I am using, I have linked a lot of them in my Amazon store down below in the description box. But don't feel the pressure to have to keep up with anybody else's choices, and if it's something is above your budget, then use what's in your budget. For sealing these chairs, I decided to try this lacquer clear. I usually use shellac, and I just wanted to try something different because shellac tends to have like a little bit of a yellow tone to it. Not too much, but it's not perfectly clear like lacquer would be. And I had been seeing a lot of cool stuff on Pinterest about lacquered finishes and how durable they are and stuff, but I'm going to just say that I wasn't a huge fan of it. I still prefer other clear coats over this one, and it smelled like a nail salon the entire time I was using it. It's a very strong fumes, so I'm probably never going to use that again, but if you like it, go ahead and keep using it. Don't worry about what I say. And I just wanted to show you guys how I do my corners on my upholstery, and my husband actually bought me a new staple gun as a gift and surprised me with it, and it works really, really well. And here is the original dining table top that came with my dining set. It had a tile top on it, and I was thinking that I could just remove the tiles and put in new tiles. And when I started pounding on it to get the tiles out, it would not break apart. It was glued in instead of using like a thin set. So it just splintered into tiny little pieces, and then eventually I ended up hammering it so hard that it busted through. You could see that big hole there. So that was when I realized that there was no more using that top. And I had this oak top sitting in my garage. Somebody actually picked it up. Look how gross it is. Somebody picked it up for me from a dumpster. Somebody was throwing away just the top. And so I had it sitting in my garage waiting to be used for a while now. And I'm so glad that I finally used it on a project and got it out of my garage. But I just kind of configured the original platform underneath there to fit the base of the other table, and my husband helped me with this and helped to screw it all together, and it was kind of like a 2-person job, making sure everything's straight and screwing it on and getting the top on and all that good stuff. So he came and helped me out to get this part done, and it was still very easy, and one person probably could have done it on their own. It just would have taken longer. Now I'm using a magic eraser to clean the base of the table, the base from the first table set, It was actually really clean. It was just dusty from sitting on a back patio. There was no like really gross stuff stuck to it like how the tabletop is. And I had to use some special tools to clean the top of this table because it was so gross. I'll show you how I did all of that, just so that way if you find a roadside dining table that is good structurally but super gross and dirty, then this is how you would clean that up. But I just sanded it down while I was cleaning it and then wiped off all the dust so that way the bottom was ready to be painted. And you guys know I always start painting things upside down and then flip it over and paint it right side up. So that is the same method that I am using now. And I am painting it in a white. I am using a flat enamel paint, and I think the brand was Clark & Kensington, but doesn't matter. Flat white paint is a really good primer. And since this piece covered really well and no stains came through, I didn't need to do any other coats on top. It was like it really turned out well on the first try, which is kind of rare with white. But I seal it later since it was a flat finish. Although enamel is very durable, flat tends to get dirty really quickly, so I sealed it later on and you will see that. But here in Arizona, it's so dry that I could literally go round and round on it and it would be dry by the time I came around. So I just covered it really well and then flipped the table right side up and started sanding and prepping the top for paint. Now, if you don't like painting the top of wood, you could stain during this step. So you would sand it down to bare wood and then stain it in whatever color stain that you want to do. But I am just sanding it to get it flat. There was a little bit of water damage and the surface was kind of uneven and bubbling. So I was trying to sand it as flat as I could get it, although it did not end up being perfect. Now here's a step you guys cannot miss when you are doing dining tables, which is cleaning out the cracks. So you need to open up the table and take a scraper and scrape it off. If you don't have any tools that can scrape, you can use even a butter knife to do this and just scrape the heck out of that crack there because food and just really gross stuff gets stuck in there. And so clean that really good after you scrape it as well. And then I tried using this palm sander to sand around that edge around the circle, but there was so much sticky, gross, dirty food stuff in there that the sander was just getting all like gummy and gross. So when I realized that wasn't working, I just used my drill brush sets. I got this on Amazon. I saw somebody using it to wash cars and I was like, man, I could probably use that to wash my really gross furniture pieces. So I picked it up and I made sure to link it for you guys in case you wanted something like this. But it does a really quick job of something that would take me all day long to clean otherwise. And I have some like arthritis or carpal tunnel or something, so having to sit and clean this would have been horrible for me. Now I'm just going to seal it. I want to show you the difference between using a spray can with your finger and using a spray can with that cool attachment that I've been using. You can get that attachment from any hardware store, and I will try and find one on Amazon to link it for you guys because I've had a lot of questions about it. But you see the coverage is just not as great, and when you pull out that handle and put it on there, look at the difference in the coverage because you're able to squeeze that trigger at an even pressure and spray evenly. Once that was dry, I went ahead and painted over the top. I used the shellac first to help get the surface nice and smooth, as well as prevent any of that wood orangey stain from coming through in my white paint. It worked like a charm. I had no stains coming through. And I do want to mention that the white that I'm using, I ended up mixing a little bit of brown into it to make it kind of like an off-white color, like an antique whitish gray color. So when you see it when it's finished, it won't look pure white, and that is why. So sometimes when you spray, it can leave a little bit of a rough texture. So when that happens, you just go over it with some sandpaper before you seal it, and that will take care of that problem for you. I'm sealing again with shellac. I love shellac, super durable, especially for a dining table. And since I was going with an antique off-white color, I did not mind the fact that shellac can pull a little bit of like a yellowy tone. I thought that it would definitely be kind of canceled out with the gray tone of the white already, and I was right. Look at how cool this all turned out looking together. It was such a beautiful set, and I only had 2 chairs. I actually had to split up the set of 4 chairs so that I could make more dining sets for more people, and their first homes are usually very petite, so the 2-chair dining table set works best in their homes anyways. In the fabric that I have, laying across the table is just the extra fabric from upholstering these seats. Again, that fabric came from Walmart. It was like $3 or $4 a yard, and I probably used a yard and a half, maybe 2 yards for this whole project. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw today, don't forget to hit subscribe down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!